Hey you guys, it's Christian from SuperKamiGuru9000, and I'm here with Lordofice72 to bring you the next SuperKamiGuru interviews. Thank you for joining me today, Lordofice72.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. I honestly was very excited to interview you. You have a long history on YouTube. You've been around maybe as one of the longest reviewers that has a history on YouTube. And when did you get started on YouTube exactly?
Quite a while ago. As a reviewer, goodness, it had to have been, around, I want to say about 2008, 2009-ish.
That's a long time, man. I mean, you definitely got some history on YouTube and definitely in the anime community.
Yeah.
What was YouTube?
Really, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. Keep going. Sorry about that.
In the anime community, I just, for me as a personal reason, I really don't consider myself a part of the YouTube anime community or whatever people are calling it nowadays, because I don't watch anime hardly. I'm mainly like 99% manga focused. I don't bother with the anime. It's just whenever I do have watch an anime, it's usually because I couldn't find the manga anywhere.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who are strictly anime viewers have a hard time going to manga sometimes. First of all, you have to read it backwards. Second of all, I think some people are lazy and don't like reading and don't like using their imagination. But it's kind of a hard thing to get into if you're not used to manga. And it definitely was hard for me when I started. Like I was like, "Whoa, this is backwards. Why don't I just watch some? Yeah, why don't I just watch some anime? It's just easier." But now that I'm like reading Berserk and some other things, I appreciate manga a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I was watching the Naruto anime, this is before it went to crap. I was watching the Naruto anime and I came across the manga, and I really didn't know what manga was at that point in time. I was maybe a sophomore in high school, and I'm reading the manga, and I'm thinking, all right, this is cool. Wait a second, this is where this goes further than the anime, and that's pretty much where my manga love took off, because I realized, hey, the manga is further along the story. I want to find out more, so I just kept reading it.
Yeah, that's what happened with me in One Piece. I watched all of One Piece, and I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I went to the manga, and I was like, oh, man, this goes farther. And I kind of power watched One Piece in like a month and a half, and it was like all the way to the Impel Down arc. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, that was really good. And then I started reading the manga, and it was like right before the time skip. So I was like super pumped about the time skip after I read all that manga.
Cool.
Yeah, dude. One thing I wanted to ask you is, what was YouTube like when you first started? At least you may not consider yourself part of the anime community now, but back then you were probably a pretty prominent reviewer, and you have more than 1,000 subscribers, so obviously people are watching your stuff.
Yeah, and only Lord knows why, but I guess it was just there are other YouTube reviewers out there. The big ones you might have heard of, Sawyer7Mage. I want to say that he and I got started at relatively around the same time. He might have gotten ahead of me or started before I did, but usually around that time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then where did the Insane Game Freak come in on that?
Like I said, I think he started around the same time I did. Actually, I think he started before I did, really. Well,
I think you and Sawyer7Mage and the Insane Game Freak, if you ask me, are like the mecca or the originals, of the reviewing scene. I remember when I got started, I didn't know anyone was on there. Actually, I have a really funny story. When I started, I remember watching your videos and saying like, oh, this guy needs to see my channel. He'll be happy we both do the same thing. And I sent you an email saying, hey, check out my channel. Tell me what you think. And you wrote back and you're like, oh, it's cool that you do reviews. But you didn't really answer my question. And I was like, oh, I was so sad.
I apologize for that. I apologize.
No, dude, I was an under 100 subscriber reviewer, and there are a bunch of those out there. So, now I'm finally starting to get some success in the anime community on YouTube. But back then I was a nobody, so I didn't take it personal. I never take it personal when people don't check out my channel when I would ask. And I also know that question is kind of taboo. Everyone writes, hey man, I like your videos, check out my channel, So yeah. I know how cliche that question can be sometimes. So
it's funny that, go ahead.
No, please keep going.
Well, I mean, I like Sawyer7Mage's stuff, except what really has caused me to not watch the videos anymore is that he's a reviewer that only reviews two manga predominantly, and that's Naruto and One Piece. It's like, could you review some other, maybe lesser-known manga so we can get those out in the community? But whatever, it's his channel. He can do whatever he wants.
I think you have a valid point in the idea that he does exclusively focus on Naruto and One Piece. But obviously he's been very successful at it. You can't deny that he's getting views on it.
Can't deny that.
Yeah, you can't deny he's the man and the top dog in the reviewing scene now and has been for a while. But I do understand, I don't want to use the word frustration, but it's kind of like maybe you should move away from mainstream and promote some smaller stuff, and because he obviously has the ability to command a large audience. Also, I wanted to talk to you about pairing, because every time I think of your channel, I always go back to when you reviewed that one chapter of Naruto, and you just screamed the word "fuck." Yeah, and
that's my rage guy moment.
Yeah, that's something else I know about you. You're very passionate when you sit down to talk to your camera and put out a video. You always are, I don't want to say intense, but there's always some intensity behind the way you talk about things. And maybe that's the reason you have so many subscribers, because you're a very passionate vlogger.
Yeah, it also is the reason for so many of my haters out there. But whatever, I don't mind them. Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, it's so true, and I think if you go on YouTube and have a certain strong stance on something, you're going to get the opposing view coming at you in a negative way. It's kind of just the way it works. I mean, I have to constantly check what I'm saying and say, in my opinion, and, I want people to know it is okay to disagree with me. Just do it in a respectful way, and I don't mind if we have a debate, So, but you just... Like you just come out with so much passion and drive on certain subjects. I think the haters, if you will, get drawn to you a little more than they would me. But that doesn't mean your videos are bad at all. It's just you have a whole different approach to talking about topics.
Yeah, and I do a little smack talking here and there, and I give like a little elbow to the ribs verbally.
Yeah,
I mean, and I just like to do it. It's just my style that I like to do it.
Yeah, you do pairing videos, or you have in the past, and what is pairing, and why is there a war around it, if you will?
Well, pairings in anime and manga are nothing new. I mean, especially in the shonen genre, you could pretty much go back and watch, Dragon Ball Z, Goku and Chi-Chi. Well, actually, that was built up throughout Dragon Ball and into DBZ. But Yusuke and Keiko from Yu Yu Hakusho, and another one that I really like is Kenshin and Kaoru from Rurouni Kenshin. And, yeah, just pairings in general have existed in anime and manga since the very beginning of anime and manga.
Yeah, I think anyone with a story, always people want to predict who they're going to end up with, like the Hermione and Harry Potter. That was a big one for a long time. I remember everyone talking.
A big one. And even though I have not read the 7th book yet, I have looked up the ending on the internet, and yeah, I know I cheated, but I don't care. And I've looked at the pairings, and I just scratch my head, and I wonder, J.K. Rowling, what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah, I don't want to give it away or spoil it for anyone, but yeah, I was a little, I'm not going to say disappointed, but I didn't necessarily see it coming.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the reasons why I just was flabbergasted at why J.K. Rowling ended up with those pairings, because they pretty much didn't have that much development.
And then the other thing is, there is a lot of haters on pairing wars. As soon as you pick a side, you have to have negativity from the other side immediately. It's never, let's have a discussion about this.
Yeah, there are lots and lots of bashers for both Narusaku, Naruhina, Sasaku, and people who hate pairings in general.
It's definitely a controversial subject. There's no doubt about it. If you want to get into the pairing war debate, you better either be ready to defend yourself and also
you better come with your guns loaded.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
Yeah. And me and Corey we have a stance that pairing is kind of dumb, especially now when you're looking at Naruto, who's in the middle of is it the 4th Great Ninja War or something? I don't even know what the number is, or 3rd or whatever.
I don't know why they consider it great, because the war has been absolute shit.
I mean, the war has been hit or miss at times, and in my opinion, it's pretty much because they're trying to develop all the secondary characters, so they're kind of bogging it down instead of just focusing on the main characters. Which, if they just hung out with Naruto and B for a while, I think it would get interesting and you would care a little more instead of a one-chapter development of a side character at a time. It's kind of like, it's hard to follow what's even fucking going on.
Yeah, and I have a stance on that, but I'll touch on that later in this interview here.
Okay, that's awesome.
But the pairings, I guess the reason I like it so much is because even though I am a guy, I do like romance. I like romance in my manga. It's just something I like to see.
And I think when we were talking the other day for the first time on Skype, you were saying something like, or we both came to the agreement that the writer of Naruto cannot really write romance very well. He does combat.
No, Kishimoto cannot write romance at all.
And it's not that we're dissing Naruto necessarily. We're just like, come on, let's just be honest. There's really, the romance in that series is not very well developed, and it's not very well done or executed, and it's kind of a shame because it could.
You got to keep in mind that it is a shonen manga, and shonen manga have never been really known for their romance. If you want romance to be the freaking the focus.
Yeah.
You need to read shoujo, but it's nice to talk about romance and shonen. But Kishimoto, his writing, I'm going to say it is very mediocre because, well, the Naruto don't want to hear this because apparently if you say anything bad about Naruto or Kishimoto, you're a communist and you're going to go to hell.
Yeah, dude, you're going to get me a bunch of dislikes on this video. I can tell already.
I apologize for that, but hey, direct them to my channel and I'll handle it.
No problem, man. I'll send them your way.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just saying Kishimoto is just, in my opinion, he's better at setting up combat than romance, and it's kind of a shame because there's such a strong following on the pairing side of Naruto, and there just are the depth of shonen anime is usually shallow until you get to like something like Death Note. But in some ways, I almost don't even consider Death Note a shonen, even though it was published in Shonen Jump. It just has such a different feel to it.
Well, a lot of people like the pairing wars in Naruto because, well, what the hell else are we going to talk about? The war has been crap, and just all these secondary characters are mainly getting spotlight. Well, up until recently, Naruto's finally getting stardom in his own manga. But I really don't. I like the pairings. And I used to be like really passionate about it, but now I just have lost my drive, so to speak. I'll still talk about them. And actually, I don't think I've said it right now in this interview, but I am a very big Naruto and Sakura supporter, and that's one of the pairings that, especially here in the western part of the world, that people hate, and mainly because they consider Sakura a bitch because she hits Naruto, or they still think that she likes Sasuke, which she may still like him. But about the hitting, the people who say that Naruto shouldn't end up with Sakura because she hits him all the time, is Naruto your first ever shonen manga that you've ever read, or shonen anime that you've ever watched? Because if so, you really should read or watch other shonen anime and manga, because the hitting thing, that's the common thread, and that's the whole Sudan archetype thing.
Yeah.
It's very commonplace.
It's almost like using the hitting as an example of why Sakura's not going to end up with Naruto is like the biggest crap argument I think I've ever heard. And
it's asinine. It's just utter asinine.
Because it's such a anime stereotype. A guy does something stupid, accidentally grabs a girl's boob or sees her naked, or embarrasses her accidentally, and then he gets punched across the room. That's just standard anime crap,
Yeah, and it's funny. I like it. I laugh my ass off at those moments. And what I think the most preposterous thing is that I've had discussions with Naruhina fans, and they say, "Oh, I hate it when Naruto gets hit," and eventually we'll get into other anime discussions or manga discussions actually, and we'll bring up, say for example, Love Hina, and they said, they loved Love Hina, and especially it was funny when Keitaro, the main male protagonist, got the absolute shit beat out of him by Naru, the main female protagonist. I'm like, whoa, what the hell?
Well,
it's the same thing.
Well, that doesn't support my argument if I agree with you then. Well, okay, hypocrite. Okay, we won't go there then. Obviously, you only want to see the glass You only want to see through the window your way, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
Fanboy, or in this case, fangirl logic.
Well, I'll tell you what, fanboys are everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're talking Apple and PC. It doesn't matter if you're talking Naro Sakura or Naruhina. You know, there are fanboys everywhere.
And Saku in there.
It's so true. I mean, me and Corey made a joke once in one of our Naruto reviews that we wanted to see Naru. No, what was it? It was Hinata Sakura combo. We were like, yeah, let's just see that. Just because
I would like to see that. I would absolutely love to see that.
I think it would be a good meet in the middle for a lot of people.
Yeah. If those two ended up together, and if Naruto got in the mix, I'm thinking, yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I think this is a good break even. I don't know, man. You know, that's mostly a joke, everyone. I don't actually want to see a lesbian scene in Naruto, but you know, whatever. Who knows? Kishimoto sucks at romance, so we might get it. Lordofice72, you're also an adamant, I'm sure, a guy like most of us who plays video games and has a lot of different likes and dislikes in that category. But you're also a huge Pokemon fan. Where did that all start for you?
Well, like most kids my age, well, actually I'm 20 years old right now, so I'm not really a kid anymore. But most people my age, whenever they were growing up, they discovered this thing called anime and manga. And Pokemon was one of the first animes that they discovered. It was for me. I discovered Pokemon, the anime of Pokemon, and Dragon Ball Z around the same time. So those were like the gateway drugs, so to speak, to the thing called the anime and manga. But I got into the video games because they were just so much fun. And the original versions over here in the United States were red and blue. Over in Japan, it was red and green. And then later on in Generation 1, we had yellow version, which is what I'm currently playing right now.
Did you get red or blue in the beginning, or did you just wait for yellow?
I just waited for yellow. And actually, I didn't really play the games all that much when I was little. I'm just now going back and playing them or replaying them. Because what I would do is I would borrow my friend's Game Boy, and I would just play their copy, their versions of the game, and I wouldn't actually buy it myself because whenever I was a little kid, I didn't like RPGs all that much. Now I absolutely adore RPGs. But yeah, that's pretty much how I started playing them, and I'm tracking down all the Pokemon games, or at least the special edition Pokemon games, you know, Yellow, Crystal, Emerald, Platinum.
Gray, maybe?
It's the posted Pokemon Gray that I know Game Freak is going to make, even though they've gone on record saying, oh, we're not going to make a third Pokemon game for Unova. Yeah, you are. You've done it for the past 4 generations. You're going to do it for the 5th. I know you are.
They're going to totally pull a Capcom on that, you know, so I can't wait. Oh, are you into fighting games? Are you privy, or do you know too much about the Capcom controversy or anything?
Yeah, I love fighting games, but when a lot of people, when they say, oh, their favorite fighting game is Street Fighter or Tekken, my actual favorite fighting game of all time is Virtua Fighter. I absolutely love Virtua Fighter. I was a huge Sega fan back in the day, but I love Nintendo too. I was one of the lucky kids who always had at least 2 video game consoles per generation growing up in my house whenever I was little.
Yeah.
So I got to play both Nintendo and Sega, so I didn't have to choose sides in that console war.
You weren't a fanboy? Fanboys exist throughout time.
Yeah, just that my parents were really good to me, and I got both consoles. But Virtua Fighter was my absolute favorite 3D fighting game of all time. And I don't know why that a lot of people have been pissed off at Capcom because they're going to release Marvel vs. Capcom 3 again in the form of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah, they just throw a Maximum or Ultra or something on it and they re-release it.
Yeah, and a lot of people are pissed off at it, and I'm thinking, it's Capcom.
Yeah.
You knew this was coming. They've done this with Street Fighter 2. They released 70 million versions of Street Fighter 2. They did the same thing with Street Fighter 3. They did it with Street Fighter 4. How could you not see this coming?
I think if you wanted to make a valid argument, you would have not bought this last version and waited for the new one because you knew it was coming anyway. And then you can be like, yeah, you could say, this is dumb. I'm going to wait and then go buy it. And then you could still complain, but at least you wouldn't be $100 deep in one game because that's pretty much what you're going to have to do if you bought the first version and you want the new characters. You're going to be $100 deep.
And actually, the reason why they're releasing or re-releasing MVC3 And I heard this on, I don't know if you are familiar with the gaming website screwattack.com.
I know of it, but I don't really frequent it very often.
Oh, it's a good site. I learn a lot of stuff from there. But they have this segment on their site called Hard News, and it's just an everyday 3-minute video about what's going on in the daily video game news world. And they had one episode where a lot of people, they were talking about it, and they said a lot of people are mad that Capcom is re-releasing Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And they, according to what Hard News said, the reason why they're releasing it is because they were originally supposed to release all those characters. I believe it's like 12 new characters, 8 extra stages, or whatever the number is.
Yeah.
They were supposed to release that through DLC, but then the natural disaster over in Japan hit, and that threw a huge wrench in their plan. So that's why they're doing another retail version, Capcom is. And so a lot of people that are mad, I'm willing to bet you that they did not know about that.
You know, whether or not that's the truth or just an excuse for them to do it, it's kind of hard to tell as well, just playing devil's advocate to your argument. But it's just kind of the only thing, first of all, I'm not a big fighting game fan. It's not that I think they're bad. It's just I'm not the kind of guy that can memorize a bunch of combos. I'm just not. I'm a first-person shooter guy. I like to just point and shoot. That's it. I'm done. I shot you more, I win. I didn't have to memorize 10 button combos to beat you. And so the only thing I really think that people have to complain about is there's still no Mega Man in it, especially when it's Capcom and they own the rights to that character anyway, and they still won't put it in.
Now that I will agree with. I was really sad that instead of Mega Man, we get, I think, what's his name, Rocket Raccoon?
And we get Mega Man stages, new Mega Man stages, but no Mega Man.
That's an ultimate cock tease right there.
It's a slap to the face. It's like, no Mega Man, but we'll give you a stage. And me and Corey, who is my partner on SuperKamiGuru, we were talking, and we were like, wouldn't it be the most slap to the face if they released the new Super Smash Brothers and Mega Man was in it?
Yeah.
We would be like, oh man, Capcom fans would rage to a new level, but it would be funny. I was like, they could just make him a Samus clone or something, I think that could probably be cool.
But yeah, I do love all kinds of video games. I love first-person shooters, fighting games, RPGs, action-adventure games. The Legend of Zelda is my all-time favorite gaming series, and many other different genres of video games. I'm a gamer.
I find The Legend of Zelda to have the nicest fans for some reason. I don't know why, but I think it's like people who like classical music. Like they're like, this is just so good, I'm not even trying to compare it to anything else because there's nothing like it. They're not fanboys. They're just people that appreciate a great game. And I don't know why they don't make more of those games. They're probably very hard to make. But, like the Zelda fans and that franchise is awesome. I always enjoy talking Zelda with people because that series is awesome.
Yeah, I love me some Legend of Zelda. And the fans, they're like the nicest fans in video games, I think. And it also doesn't help it also helps that every time new Legend of Zelda game is released, it's actually a really good quality product.
Yeah, no, they don't ever cut corners. They're just like, we'll release it when it's done. They pull a valve on that. You know, they're like...
go ahead.
I'm just saying, they just say, we'll put it out when it's done, and no sooner, no later. So...
and actually, like, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is my all-time favorite video game, and in my personal humble opinion, I think it's the greatest game ever made. And, in fact, I love the game so much that I actually have the N64 version somewhere around my room, and I have it on my laptop via emulator. I'm thinking about going out and buying a 3DS just for that game, just to have another version of it. It's still the same masterpiece that I love, even though I've played it over and over and over again. I just love that game so much, and I rarely buy the same game twice.
Yeah, I'll say that's something I rarely do too, but I wouldn't mind doing it for that game either.
Yeah, it is just a fantastic game, and I cannot wait till Skyward Sword is released. I got that thing on pre-order. I cannot wait to play it.
Is that coming out this year or next year?
This year.
Oh, for Christmas? Or like holiday season, I guess you would say?
Holiday season, yes.
Yeah. I guess you have to be politically correct and call it holiday season now.
I still call it Christmas season.
Yeah, whatever. Well, I don't know if it's Christmas season if it comes out in November. That's when I guess that's holiday season. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're just cutting hairs there with that conversation. You said one of your first times you were a gamer, you were like a console and a PC gamer, and now you've sort of gone back to consoles, or what was your journey through gaming on like the console level versus PC level?
Well, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked by PC gamers here because whenever I was little, I did I didn't say quite a bit of gaming on the PC. I played some games on the PC, and I really, really, really enjoyed them. Keep in mind, guys, that I grew up in a household that didn't allow me to play violent video games until I was older. So I never got to experience Quake. I never got to experience, what was it? My mind went blank.
Doom or any of those originals? Or
I did experience Doom, except the first time I did play Doom, I played it on the SNES, and that was a really horrible port.
Oh yeah, no, very few of the console versions were ever any good that they ported over.
Yeah, and I actually did eventually get Doom for the PC, and I absolutely love it. I have it on my laptop right here. I play it every day. It's so much fun, and I play some PC games. Like there's this one PC game that surprisingly not a whole lot of people have heard of. It was one of Epic Games' earlier titles. It's called a Firefight, and it was a really great game on the PC. It was pretty much just a futuristic shooter. You control a ship, and you went down shooting down other ships, and you completed mission objectives. Really fun.
Was this like a view through the ship, or was it like an over-the-top view?
It was top-down.
Top-down sort of view. Okay, because I had never heard of that, and I'm a pretty avid PC gamer, and I like Epic Games, so that must have been something that not too many people know about.
Yeah, it was back whenever they were known as Epic Mega Games. But if you can find it, I think it's sort of rare, I believe, because I've never been able to find it. But if you can find it, it's called Firefight, and it's really great.
I'll have to look that up because that sounds fun. See if I can find a version of that.
And the music was great too.
Oh yeah, that's something I'm a big. I'm not good. I just have to say it immediately because I know there are some people who play RTSs like StarCraft and Warcraft and some other ones out there that are great at them. But there was this RTS game called Homeworld, and it was a PC game, and it was in space, though. It's kind of hard to describe because it was an RTS in a three-dimensional space, like obviously space. And and the music in that game made me realize what good music does for a game. Like,
oh yeah,
like I still remember, like it's a lot of that, like kind of like I don't even know how to describe that kind of music. This like kind of eerie, like reverberating, kind of churchy music, I guess you could say.
Is it just a bunch of? Does it sound like a choir with no instruments?
Yeah, kind of like a cappella singing in a church or something. You know what I mean?
I believe the correct term for that was a Gregorian chant, but don't quote me on that.
Well, you're probably more right than I am because I'm just repeating what I sort of heard back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But it was just immediately I realized what good music will do for a game. And just like Metal Gear Solid 4, when I turned that on and that guitar riff comes on, and like I was just like, oh shit. Yeah, I was like, yes, this game's going to rock. And, well, that's a whole nother... Metal Gear Solid 4 is an amazing game just because the story was good. And then on top of the music being good. And I still remember watching that ending and, like, almost crying. Like, I was like, oh, I've never been so moved. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you got some PC gaming history because we're a dying breed. And I built my own...
You guys aren't dying. I'm primarily a console gamer right now, but I'm trying to save up some cash and buying me a PC rig. I've always said that if PC gaming dies, gaming itself is in big, big trouble. So PC gaming isn't going anywhere.
I really hope you're right, and I really don't have any real evidence to say it is. It scares me because we just see more and more Call of Duty fans every year, and it freaks me out. I loved Call of Duty. I played it to death. I played since the first one when they were World War II till the modern ones, but like, damn, like these fans they're making nowadays that bringing to the franchise kind of suck. And I'm sorry if you're a Call of Duty fan. I am too, but it's the fanboys we're talking about.
Same here.
Yeah.
I totally understand. That's one of the reasons why I'm not going to buy Modern Warfare 3. I'm going to go with Battlefield 3. I think that's going to be a better game.
That's a war simulator, Call of Duty 3 is going to be another hallway shooter. It's a whole different game. Like, there's a big fanboy war going on between those games right now, and I think it's really comparing apples and oranges. If you want to play a quick hallway shooter kind of game, then go Call of Duty. If you want to play a game with vehicles and a huge landscape and like a war simulator, you go Battlefield. And
oh yeah.
So
and if you don't like either one of those, you go back to Counter-Strike.
There you go. Oh God, I still have friends that play 1.6, like the hardcore old one. Like, they are so into Counter-Strike, and I love first-person shooters, but I suck at Counter-Strike. Like,
I suck at it too, but I had a blast when I played it for the very short time that I did. I was god awful at it, but I had a blast.
Like, I got a friend who has like $120 headphones and really nice. Yeah, like a super souped-up computer, and that guy will sit there, and he can hear people around the map, and just like, I know where that guy is, and then go sneak up and kill him. And I'm like, how did you do that? He's like, it's all about listening and knowing how the echo sounds. And I'm like, I don't need to get that deep, man. I just want to shoot people, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need all that strategy. And, well, you know, like, again, I'm happy you have a PC gaming background, because maybe PC gaming isn't dying, but so many people are console only. They don't understand what PC gaming is, and it's a sad history that we need to keep alive.
I mean, I can't reemphasize this fact enough, but I have a 360 and I have a Wii, and I'm trying to get myself a PS3. And since my desktop, well, actually my desktop is gone because it was so old and so ancient that it couldn't. I'm pretty sure it couldn't even run solitaire. But if I had the option, if you give me the option to play a first-person shooter on a console, or you give me the option to play a FPS on a PC, I'm picking PC all the way, because I feel that keyboard and mouse is more responsive, it's more accurate, and you get more options with PC. You can mod, and modding's cool. I've never really got the hang of it because I'm a dumbass, but it's really fun.
Even if you're not a programmer, you can still enjoy what the people in the modding community make, though. And that's something you definitely don't have on consoles, because you can't go online with mods on a console environment because they need to keep hackers off and things, which I understand, but you'll never experience, like, Gary's mod was a big one for Half-Life 2 for a while, and that was super fun. I remember playing that and doing ridiculous things and setting things up, and it was so much fun playing Gary's mod. But like, that community will just never see existence on the console market. So that's another reason why PC gamers have to stick around and keep that community alive. That's for sure.
So long as there is QuakeCon, there will be PC gamers, I assure you.
Oh God, I see pictures of that every year, and it's just like rows of monitors, and I'm like, that's beautiful. I wish I could be there.
I will go there one day. I just need to get me a rig, and I need to get good at Quake.
Yeah, and you have to show up with a good rig. You can't show up with something with last year's parts, because you'll look like a loser.
Yeah, you'll look like a moron if you do that.
Oh, man. I just don't have the money to upgrade my rig every year. I have a 1 gigabyte graphics card that I'm happy with a gig of video memory. I got 6 gigs of RAM in it, and I got a quad-core processor. It's not the most latest stuff, but it runs everything just fine, and I'm happy with it for now. So I'm just, you know. Other things. You are a huge sports fan. What do you like in sports, and what do you follow regularly?
Okay. Do you have time?
You know, we still got some time.
I follow baseball, football, basketball, hockey, and I do mean many different forms of motor racing.
Yes, I mean, your background on your page is F1 racing, right?
Yeah, Formula One racing. In fact, that was last year's picture, I believe, at the Monaco Grand Prix, 2010 Monaco Grand Prix. The guy in that car is Fernando Alonso. He's my driver in Formula One, and I like watching him race.
How do you feel about the changes they made in F1 with the engines, and I think it was the tail fin that changed this year, or some other things like that?
I'm not too familiar with the engines because they sound the same to me, and the cars go freaking fast, so it's like I really can't tell how much difference. I'm fighting some research on the whole, I believe, DRS, the DRS system in the cage, or kinetic energy, the KERS, kinetic energy reduction system. The DRS is the drag reduction system, where the wing opens up and like gets more air in, and gives you kind of a boost to get past the guy and encourages overtaking. I like that.
Okay, because I know a lot of fans are a little iffy about that system, And they were also saying, I think they changed the tires. Like they're only allowed to use certain tires that burn out quicker.
Yeah. Last year they had Bridgestone. This year they have Pirelli tires.
Yeah. Not that many people know that. I bet you were surprised I knew all that.
Yep. Now, over the course of a race, I mean, they have like 70 billion different compounds. There's a hard compound, soft compound, super soft compound. There's a mix for both, and of course rain tires. And like you can tell difference between the like different color stripe on the tire, but whenever they're going around 200 mile an hour plus, or really freaking fast, it's kind of hard to tell which tire they got on.
No, I'm sure. See, that's the thing, because all the cars are going so fast, it doesn't look that fast, but it is that fast. It doesn't really make sense to a normal human that doesn't go that fast in their car, but these guys are going like from 180 to 0 nonstop for a whole race, back and forth, back and forth. Like they are crazy, responsive, like top-of-the-class drivers to be doing what they do.
Yeah, a Formula One car can go from 0 to 100 back to 0 in less than 7 seconds.
And that still doesn't, that's hard to grasp if you're not really like, if you've never like done it before or anything like that, it's just hard to imagine going that fast and then back to nothing in 7 seconds. It's kind of ridiculous.
That's why the cars cost around $6.8 million a piece.
Oh, God. And I mean, all the engineering that went into them, I don't even want to imagine. I hate math. I don't even want to get into that. But yeah, I'm sure there's some brilliant minds that make those vehicles. And so you also said you like baseball, hockey, some other things. Who are your teams?
Well, growing up in Missouri, I'm primarily a Missouri sports fan. For baseball, obviously St. Louis Cardinals, even though we've been pretty bad this year. I mean, we're a couple games over 500, but we're like 9.5 games out of the Central, thanks to Milwaukee going on this tear late in the season.
Yeah, well, at least you're a fan that would admit when his team's not doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I work with a Chicago Cubs fan, and he gives me crap every day.
I will say I'm primarily just not a sports fan. Like, I never got into it. I guess I don't really care for competition. I never played on my school's football team. I did do wrestling in high school, but I enjoyed wrestling because it wasn't like a team sport. It was just like you and this other guy go out there, and either you win or you lose, and it's up to you. So I think that wasn't like, it was a different kind of sport than the team sports, you see a lot of people do.
Individual ones.
Yeah, individual. I was on track and wrestling. Those were my two sports. But I think a lot of guys just enjoy the sports talk. Like, I worked at a sports bar for a while when I worked in the restaurant industry. And I struggled really hard because people wanted to come in and talk football all the time. And, I mean, the team that's around me all the time is UGA and Georgia Tech and the Falcons. So, like, people are constantly talking about UGA, and I was just kind of like, I don't really know anything, and I don't really care. And it was a very hard job to work at because people always wanted to talk football. But so what I did was I just agreed with them. They'd be like, so don't you like so-and-so? I'd be like, yeah, dude, he's awesome. And then I just walk off.
There you go.
Because if they wanted to debate, I wouldn't know what to talk about. So I just agreed with them and walked off. It was there were some awkward times at that job, that's for sure. So back to YouTube. What do you think about partnership?
Well, if you want to become partnered, and you want to do whatever you want with your channel, I'm fine with it. I have been offered partnership, but I don't think I'm ever going to actually follow through with it.
It kind of turns YouTube into a job. I think you got to be really careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, I already have a job already, and I'm going to school for 15 hours. So, yeah, I don't really need another quote-unquote job, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying, man. It's a big, especially being, a young guy like yourself, trying to make something of yourself and set yourself up for the rest of your life, going to school and working. You don't need a responsibility to put out 3 videos a week. I completely understand what you're saying.
Is that how much? Is that how much you need to produce?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, you want to make so many views a week, and you can get. Let's say you wanted to make 3,000 videos a week, and you knew you'd get 1,000 a video. So that means you need to make three videos a week. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of the math, and I don't know, man. Partnership is a scary thing. There are times where I'm like, maybe I should partner. I wouldn't mind making money from doing this because I'm having fun. but then at the same time, I wonder if I'll still have fun if I'm making money. So,
Yeah. Another reason why I don't want to be partnered is because in order to be partnered, you have to agree with YouTube's terms and conditions for partnership. You can't use clips from stuff that you don't own. You can't put music on your videos. And I'm like, that sucks. I don't want to do that. I want to put music on my videos. I want to add like movie clips onto my videos. I just don't have the proper editing software. I'm a noob when it comes to editing, but that's a different story. Because if I ever get a capture device, I want to put some video game videos on my YouTube channel. But it's just I can't do that if I'm partnered. Then it's pretty much just a waste. And I know you, maybe some guys who are listening to this conversation right now, they're probably going to say, "Oh, why don't you just get a separate account?" That's the thing. I don't want to get a separate account. I don't need 10 YouTube accounts, 10 different email addresses. I just want my one email address. That's it.
yeah, I completely understand what you're saying. I have a personal channel and Corey has one, but we see them more as promotional tools for our main channel because they're not we don't want to get partnered, and those were just kind of like, hey, if we ever want to make a random video that doesn't go with our main channel stuff, don't feel like you can't make it, because I love being outdoors. I love running and working out and all these other things. I love music. I mean, I'm a huge rock fan.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm like, where am I supposed to put these videos I make about these subjects? So I made a little account, but it's not so I can get partnered on that account and then still make my Super Kami Guru videos. It was just because I just want some other things to do. And then if you do get partnered, it's like what we were saying earlier. You're going to feel like, I got to give this account attention, and then I got to give this account attention. Fuck that. I just want to do it for fun. And
yeah.
It's just so much work when you start trying to make money with it. But, at the same time, if you hit it big, easier than other people, maybe it makes more sense. Maybe you all of a sudden have a bigger audience, and it's easier for you to make money off YouTube. Like my last interview I did with Otaku Assemble, that guy's pulling in 2,000 views, easy a video, or more. It makes more sense for him. And for people like us that just, I'm not going to say we struggle, but we definitely, it's not a guarantee we're going to get 1,000 a video, So
you have to have the right mindset, I think.
Yeah.
And if you want to get partnered, by all means, I've always said this, I'm not in this for the money. I'm here if you want to be a jackass, you want to make people laugh.
Damn straight. And I think you definitely have, I'm sure you have fans that you've had since the beginning when you started. I'm sure you see some screen names pop up, and you're like it's not only that that guy will have your back if you have a kind of a controversial topic, but it's also that you can always count on someone to watch and care about what you make, and it's awesome having some dedicated fans. Like as soon as I got fans, I immediately said this is kind of weird too, because people are starting to get to know me, and I have no idea who they are.
Yeah. It's like, who are you again?
Yeah, it's like, some of the people I see all the time, I don't want to drop names because I'm scared I'll forget someone, but I know who the regulars are. And I always appreciate them showing up, and whenever they have my back, if there's ever a little controversy, I always support them too. Yeah. And it's just great to know that I'm always going to have some thumbs up coming in, and I'm always going to have some participation in the stuff I make. So, having fans is almost better to me than making money. Having an audience.
There you go.
Damn straight.
About my fans, if my fans can handle me, and if they were with me through my review of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, I say they're down for life, because I freaking love that show. I've got no problem in admitting it. I am a brony. I do not care.
This is a man that is admitting he loves My Little Pony. I think that's some respect right there.
Rainbow Dash for the win.
I loved Powerpuff Girls back in the day. I'm not going to deny that. It was an interesting cartoon.
Creator.
Okay.
Lauren Faust created Powerpuff Girls. She also created My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic.
Okay, now you're making me want to check it out. Okay.
The herd. Fellow bronies, we've got another one.
Oh my gosh, not yet. Let me go check it out first, and I'll come back and confirm or deny that.
All right.
Hey, well, again, Lordofice72, thank you for doing the interview. You're a piece of YouTube history. You're a strong player in the YouTube anime community, even though you may not want to consider yourself one of the members now. You are the alpha, the omega, when it comes to the original Big Three reviewers of the Big Three. And, I want to say thank you again for coming on to the show.
No problem. Anytime you want to talk, just hit me up on Skype, and we'll make videos of it. I love talking and making videos and collabing with other people. It's just fun.
Some great ideas I have, or maybe we could do a Berserk conversation. I know you love Berserk. And,
yes.
Yeah, and another one I was thinking about doing is maybe have you and Corey have a Pokemon conversation, because the honest truth is I just don't know as much as some adamant fans like yourself, and I would hate to be dwarfed by your massive knowledge of Pokemon. So I'll get an expert in here, and you guys can have a conversation.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, because I only know Kanto and Johto, generations 1 and 2, if you will. Anything past that, I'm very lost on. That's why I'm trying to hunt down all the games so I can figure all these new Pokemon out.
Well, at least you're willing to figure out the rest, and, you want to learn about the rest of the, 649?
Yeah, 649 Pokemon. That's ridiculous.
That's a lot to learn. I mean,
back in my day, there were only 150 Pokemon, 151 if you want to count Mew.
Back in my day.
Yeah, I sound so old right now.
Well, it's the truth. We are the older generation of fans now. In some ways, the newer generation is coming up, and they're all flipping Yu-Gi-Oh fans, and
yeah, whatever.
Whatever. I'm not dissing Yu-Gi-Oh. It's just a different thing for the next generation to like. That's for sure. Well, again, man, thank you, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right, thank you. Peace out.
Peace out.